All right, welcome. Good morning. Have a strap nearby you, okay, as we get started. Find a comfortable lift. I have a few blankets here that I'm sitting on. We'll see where we get to today, but I have a dining room chair. Of course, you can use a yoga chair if you have one. And I have a couple blocks standing by. We'll see if we get to them. I'm not sure. And you can always use some thick books for those blocks. I like a dictionary plus a thesaurus and maybe even plus a Dan Brown book or something like that. Makes a nice lift. So get whatever you need. Oh, you know what? I didn't mute everybody. Let me mute everybody. There we go. And simply allow yourself to settle in first. Don't force anything. Just begin to see where you are. Where are you in space and time? Of course, you're here and now. The mind likes to bring us to the past and to the future and compare how we feel right now to how we felt yesterday or the day before or how we might want to feel. So allow yourself to settle in here. Notice the emotions that may be flowing through you or sitting stagnant in you, as the case may be. Notice the thoughts that are flowing through the mind without labeling them as good or bad. You can label them as thought, but not good or bad. And then begin to drop your awareness deep into the body. Bringing your awareness to the sit bones. See if you can even out the balance of the sit bones. So half of your weight is on one sit bone, half of your weight is on the other sit bone. And as you do that, see what happens to other parts of the body. What has to change in order to make that happen? And once that change takes place, what else happens? Does the breath change how it flows? Maintaining that even balance, find a lengthening from the inner thigh to the inner knee, and a lengthening from the inner thigh, especially the upper inner thigh, back towards the abdomen. So it's that whole area, that whole distance from the knee to the lower abdomen is lengthening, the groins. And then descend the flesh of the inner thighs. The flesh of the inner thighs descends from what we would normally call the front of the thigh to the back of the thigh, the front quadricep to the back hamstring. At the very top of the groins is also a separation. There's also a separation. Not now, sweetheart, we're teaching. So you want to move the top of the groins, the top of the thighs, the top of the groins away from each other. And at the same time, draw from the outer knees to the outer hips and compact the hips together. So as the outer hips compact together, the top of the groins are moving away from each other. And see if you can begin to sense a stability in the seat. And it doesn't mean that there's no change at all. It doesn't mean you can't adjust back and forth. But see if you can sense some stability. And then maintaining that, lengthen through the side ribs. As I always say, be careful pushing the front bottom ribs forward. So take your front bottom ribs towards the back body as you lengthen from the hips to the armpits. Allow the shoulders to drop down away from the sides of your neck. And then bring the palms together at your chest. Rest your eyes into your cheekbones. Let your face soften completely. Let your face become still. And then double check in with your sit bones. Are you still balanced evenly? Or as we went to other places of the body, did that change? Become a receiver for the breath. You do not need to breathe, the breath will breathe you. And let's chant the syllable Om 3 times together. Exhaling completely, deep inhalation. Lifting your sternum towards the ceiling, lower your chin towards your heart. The breath still breathing you. Release your hands onto your thighs with your palms up. With your eyes closed, raise your head. From the back of your head, gently let your eyelids open. Interlace your fingers together. Turn your palms out. Now, as soon as we do this, there's a tendency to lean back, but keep the shoulders over the hips and keep the front bottom ribs towards the back body. Let your thumbs just gently touch, not pushing into each other, but the tips of the thumbs just gently touching. Straighten the elbows. Those who tend to over straighten the elbows, do not over straighten the elbows. So just simply a straight elbow. Extend through that thumb side of the wrist and draw the shoulder bones back into the shoulder socket. So there's an extending outward, but also drawing the shoulder bones back into the body. So it's not that you're throwing everything out. On your inhalation, inhale, take the arms up. Watch those ribs. Do you notice how the front ribs tend to come forward? Keep the front bottom ribs towards the back body. Extend the wrist towards the ceiling. Don't just push the fingers towards the ceiling or where the fingers meet, but see how the palm, see if you can keep the palms flat. So in other words, I'll do it wrong for a moment if you're looking, not this one where you push the middle of the hand up, but the hands are flat and you extend the wrist up. As the wrists go up, again, move the shoulder bone back into the shoulder socket. The shoulders move down. The shoulder blades move into the body. Now remember which finger is on top. And release your arms out to the sides. Rest. Interlace your fingers the opposite way. Take the opposite first finger on top. Turn your palms out. Push the webbing of your fingers together. Inhale, come up. Watch those ribs. Watch those ribs. Looks like someone got unmuted. I'm just going to mute them.
Oh, Jonathan, I did that.
Oh, yes.
I did that because when I'm muted, the sound fluctuates in and out, and I can't get a complete sentence.
Got it.
I'll be quiet, I promise.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. Take the ribs into the body. Extend the wrist towards the ceiling. The shoulder bones move deep into the shoulder socket. And then release your arms out to the sides, come down. Let the breath take a breath. Let the breath breathe you. Move into a twist. Extend your arms forward, take your arms up. So get some length here. Watch those ribs. As soon as my arms go up, the ribs come forward. So I take the ribs towards the back body, the shoulder blades towards the front body. But don't do the shoulder blades so much that you're throwing the ribs forward. You have to find that place where they meet in the middle. Now keep that length. Turn your hands out to the side. Exhale, come down. Drop the shoulders. Hold your arms up from your armpits. Now we're getting the width, right? We need length and width. We're going to turn to the right. Inhale, exhale. The right hand goes behind you. Left hand goes on the outside of your knee. Head faces forward. Roll your upper arms out from the inside out. That makes space for the side ribs. Inhale, lift up through the side ribs. And exhale, you can bend that front elbow, really both of them. But this front arm pulls on your leg slightly, doesn't pull it up, that leg resists so that you can turn. Keep those ribs into the body, front ribs into the body. Inhale, drop the shoulders. Exhale, turn. Kindly, gently. As we were talking about last week, we want to meet our poses with a sense of ease, a kindness. Don't work your hardest, work just behind it so that you can maintain, you can stay in the pose without exhausting yourself. Practice kindly. Inhale, keep the lift. On your exhale, come to center. Extend your arms forward, arms up. Inhale, keep the lift. Exhale, arms out to the side. They'll drop the shoulders. There's a tendency to keep the arms up from that neck shoulder area. Can you begin to hold your arms up from your armpits and find an extension from the center of the chest out through the thumb side of the hand and from between the shoulder blades out through the pinky side of the hand. So there's a width coming. Inhale on your exhalation, turn. The head stays, the torso turns. The right hand on the outside of the left knee or thigh. Inhale, lift up through the side ribs. Exhale, bend the elbows, especially that front elbow there, but the back one too, and turn. And see if you can turn without just turning the head. That's the ego part. That wants to turn more. So can you resist that and turn the body? Inhale, lifting. Exhale, bend the elbows to turn. Soft face. If your face begins grimacing, you're working too hard, work less. Maintain the lift, inhale, maintain the lift, exhale, come to center. Take a breath. Change the cross of your legs. And you can do that work. Anne likes to do this a lot, right? You go into the thigh and you really turn that out. You go into the calf and you turn that out too. Same on the other leg. Take that thigh, turn it out. Use your arms to do it, right? We say turn it out, but use your arms. Take the calf, turn it out. And notice how that affects both the seat and the sitting, but also there's more space in the groins for me, and my torso lifts slightly more. Now you still want the lengthening of the groins that we were doing before, the descending of the inner thighs, the spreading of the top of the groins, and as we draw the outer knees to the outer hips compacting together. So can you maintain the work that we did on the legs and create that space there? Notice how that affects the abdomen. Notice how it affects the breath for you. Interlace your fingers together. Turn your palms out. Watch those ribs now. Just gently touch the tips of the thumbs. Push the webbing of the fingers together. And as you extend out towards the thumb side of the wrist, draw the shoulder bones into the shoulder socket. And keep those ribs into the body. Inhale, come up. Extend through the wrists, Draw the shoulder bones into the shoulder sockets. The shoulders move down. The shoulder blades move in, but those front ribs move back. And release your arms out to the sides. Remember which finger was on top. Take a breath. Let the breath breathe you. Interlace your fingers the opposite way. Turn your palms out. No leaning back. Shoulders over the hips. Touch the thumbs. Extend through the thumb side of the wrist. Shoulder bones moving back into the shoulder socket. Keep those front ribs towards the back body, and then inhale and come up. Watch those ribs. Even as I take my arms up. Been doing this for many years now. Those ribs still come forward. Take the front ribs towards the back body. Extend through the wrists. Shoulder bones moving into the shoulder sockets. Shoulders down as the wrists go up. Softness in the face. If you're grimacing, you're working too hard.
Jonathan, if I may, what is this variation of Sukhasana called?
It's either Parvatasana in Sukhasana, or sometimes you call it Badanguliasana. I think Badanguliasana is bound fingers, or have to look up the exact translation, but either Parvatasana or Badanguliasana.
Thanks.
Release your arms out to the sides. Take a breath. Extend your arms forward. Inhale, take the arms up. There, the ribs move forward, so I have to take them into the body. If I take the ribs in, I can actually get more length. Maintain the lift, hands out to the side. Come down, shoulders down. Hold your arms up with your armpits. Soft face, inhale, exhale, turn. Keep a softness in the face as you turn. That can be your indication that you're working too hard. You grimace, you know you're working too hard. Inhale, lift up to the side ribs, rotate the upper arms out. Exhale, maintain the lift and turn. Use your elbows, the bending of the arms. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning. Not so much that you're fighting your body, not so much that you have to grimace your face to get that extra inch. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a friendliness with the body. Inhale, lift. Exhale, maintain the lift. Come to center. Allow for a breath. And arms forward. Inhale, arms up. Find that length. As the arms go up, the shoulder bones go back into the shoulder sockets as the shoulders go down. Keep that lift. Turn your hands out to the side. Exhale, come down. Drop the shoulders. Hold the arms up from the armpits. Keep those ribs in. And double check with your legs too. Are your groins still lengthening? Are your inner thighs still descending? Are the outer knees drawn to the outer hips? All that is still there. So maintain the legs, maintain the lift of the torso. Inhale, exhale, turn to the left. Descend the groins. Inhale, exhale, bend the elbows, turn. Again, not just the head. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Not so much that you begin to grimace, not so much that you're trying to force, oh, if I work hard enough, I can get an extra inch. Not today. There are days for that. I'm not saying we can never do that. But for today, you seek to work with a sense of ease. Maintain the lift. Inhale, exhale, come to center. Straighten your legs. Take your hands by your hips. The elbows can stay bent for now. Feet together if they go together. If they don't, that's fine. You can take them apart. You don't need to do it. But if your feet don't come together, you can always take a block or a book between your feet. That can help sometimes. It just gives you the idea that the balls of the toes are touching something, and gives you a signal if the thighs begin to turn out. So the thighs turn in, but double check your kneecaps. Your kneecaps point up. Lengthen from the inner thigh out through the inner knee, out through the inner heel, and draw back from the upper inner thigh back towards the abdomen. So again, that whole groin from the inner knee to the abdomen is lengthening. The flesh of the inner thighs descend. The thigh bone does press down here. Imagine you have big weights on the very tops of the thighs, and that's pushing down. And then draw from the outer knees to the outer hips. Compact those hips together. Now with the elbows bent, drop the shoulders down. Keep the legs. Don't give up the legs. And then keep the front bottom ribs into the body. Begin to push through the hands and make the arms straight. Or they may or may not get to straight. They may have gotten straight the other day and not today. Don't allow the shoulders to go up. It's not worth it. Maybe yours comes to straight today, or maybe not. The purpose isn't straight arms. I want you to use that pushing into your lift to lift the side ribs. Not to push the front bottom ribs forward, but to lift the side ribs. So do it again. Bend your elbows, everybody. Re-get your legs, so thigh bones down. Groins lengthening, inner thighs descending. Draw the outer knees to the outer hips. Compact the hips. Now maintain that and push in, not too straight in the arms, but push down with your hands to lengthen through the side ribs. Keep the shoulders down. If the arms straighten in the process, so be it. If they get a little straight, great. If they get completely straight, great. It's irrelevant. Did your side ribs lengthen without pushing your front bottom ribs forward? That's what we're seeking here. Now maintain that lift. Maintain the pressing down of the thighs, tops of the thighs. Maintain the lift. You're going to release your hands, but I want you to maintain the lift. Extend the arms forward, arms up. Push down through the sit bones. See that your inner groins have not gripped. The abdomen may grip. So front bottom ribs towards the back body, hands out to the side, drop down. Inhale, we're turning. Exhale, take the left hand on the outside of your right thigh and the left hand, no, right hand behind you. Inhale, lift up through the side ribs. Exhale again, bend the elbows, turn, not just the head. We're going to go for the body today. And can you do this with a sense of ease? Notice if you're beginning to lean back and seek not to lean back. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning, not so far where you grimace. Soften the inner groins. You can twist more peacefully if you release your inner groins. Now keep that lift. Exhale, come to center. Hands by your hips with bent elbows. Reestablish your legs, so thigh bones down. Lengthening the inner groins, descending the inner groins, outer knees to outer hips. Then help that lift. Push into your lift to help the lift of the side ribs. Keep the front bottom ribs in. Now maintain the lift. Actually, everyone, bend your elbows, come onto the fingertips of your hands. That's going to help you get more lift, more length. Keep the ribs in. Now keep that length and just release the hands for a moment. And see what it takes you to keep the lift without using the arms. And then Urdhva Hastasana with the arms. Press the thighs and the sit bones down. The more you press down, the more you come up. As the arms go up, the shoulder bones go back into the shoulder sockets, shoulders down, but maintain the lift of the sides, maintain the ribs moving towards the back body. Keep the lift, inhale, exhale, arms to the outside, drop the shoulders. Inhale, exhale, turn. Not just the head, but the body. Right, even if this is all you do, even if you go no further than this, you have a nice turn there, this is fine. Or inhale, exhale, bend the elbows to turn a little bit more. But not so much that you begin to fight your body. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. But not fighting the body. Don't go to your maximum. Or if you do, sometimes we have to go to the maximum to see where it is, but then pull back a little bit. And exhale, come to center. Keep that lift, hands by your hips, Dandasana. Now let your right leg fall out to the side. Hold on the inside of your right knee and pull that all the way out to the side. Not just towards you, but out to the side first. And then the left leg, let it fall out. Hold on the inside, right? You grasp that strand there. And then you pull that out to the side. As far out to the side as you can. Not just back. It will go back, but out to the side. And then you can take your ankles and take your feet together. Now, hopefully, I said at the beginning to have a strap nearby. So this is when you want the strap. I'm using a scarf as my strap. And I'm sliding that under my feet. Because if I were on the floor, I would take my hands underneath the feet. But we have a little lift. If you have extra long arms and you can take your hands underneath your feet, or if you decided to set up on the floor and your hands go underneath, that's fine. But not by leaning forward. If I lean forward, I could get my hands under, but still shoulders above the wrists. Notice I'm not holding way up here with bent elbows. So I have my arms nice and straight. You know, I'm not locking my elbows, but they're straight. So I'm using the feet to pull down on my hands, which are now extended by the strap. And then I use the torso to lift up through the side ribs, of course, pushing the sit bones. Roll your upper arms out, makes more space for the side ribs. Again, watch the front ribs, draw them to the back body. Baddha Konasana. Now press your heels. But first, check if you're balanced evenly on the sit bones. Can you adjust that? And then lengthen from the inner thighs to the inner knees. And then lengthen from the upper inner thighs back towards the abdomen. Of course, at the very top, they spread away from each other. So the top of the thighs draws towards the abdomen, but then up by the abdomen, there's a moving away. There's a spreading. At the same time, draw from the outer knees to the outer hips and compact the hips together. And it takes some time to really get those. I know those that have been coming regularly to the classes, we've been working on this for some time now. For some of you, this might be new. That's totally fine. And you know, at the beginning, we do one, then the other. So we lengthen the groins, draw the outer knees to the outer hips, spread, descend the groins, then begin again. And we keep changing because they don't really come at once. And that's totally fine. And after a while, those of you that have been practicing, at some point you want to see, can you maintain them at the same time? Can you act as if they're actually one action, not two, or three or four? And keep pressing the heels, keep working those legs, lengthening the groins, releasing the groins, outer knees to outer hips. And then keeping the front bottom ribs towards the back body, lift up through the side ribs. And we're not doing this for 5 minutes, but you want to be in this pose for 5 to 10 minutes every day. Now we're going to take this into a twist as well. So I want you to take both sides of that strap and hold it with your left hand. Take your right hand behind you. Now reestablish your legs first, because there's a good chance as you did that, you just totally forgot about the legs. So balance evenly on the sit bones. Extend the groins, lengthen the groins, descend to the groins. And draw the outer knees to the outer hips. Keep the heels pressing, keep the front bottom ribs in the back body. Inhale, your exhale, bend your elbows to turn. Again, keep the head straight, but see if the body can turn without the head turning. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning. Watch those ribs. The ribs want to puff forward. Notice the breath as it breathes you. You don't force a deep breath. Simply notice the breath as it is. You begin to notice outside noises. It sounds like someone's doing some work outside. I don't know if that's coming through or not. Inhale, on your exhalation, come to center. Maintain that lift. Take your hands by your hips. Maintain the legs, but lift up through those side ribs again. And then take the right hand in front of you. Hold those two sides, left hand behind you. Before you go deep into the twist, seek to maintain or reestablish. So press the heels, lengthen the groins, descend the inner thighs, draw the outer knees to the outer hips. Keep the shoulders down, front ribs in. Inhale, exhale, bend those elbows. Soft, smooth, peaceful. Inhale, exhale. And resist turning the head. I can even see it, because I can see the screen now. I see me. I usually don't see me in a class, right? So I can see me here, and I see as I turn, my head wants to turn. So I'm going to just adjust and make sure my head is pointed straight forward. And when I do that, my face relaxes. My eyes actually get clearer. The colors are brighter. Now that's me. It doesn't have to be you. What is it for you? Inhale, maintain the lift. Exhale, come to center, hands by your hips. Now take your hands on the outside of your knees, push your legs together. You can move that strap out of the way. Take hold behind one knee. Take hold of the two strands there, one in each hand. Draw the flesh towards the buttocks as you drag your heel, straighten your leg. And the other leg, draw the flesh towards the buttocks, drag the heel, straighten the leg. Hands by your hips. Dandasana. Press the thighs down, lengthen the groins, draw the outer knees to the outer hips. I'm not concerned how straight the elbows are. My elbows are quite bent right now, and I'm using just the push into the hands to lift up through the side ribs. Create space. Space is what we're looking for. Now spread your legs wide. Now, if you've gone as far as you can go, take them a little closer. If you don't like the lift you have underneath you, then adjust it. If you need to take a blanket or a towel, whatever you have out, then that's fine. If a lower lift, sometimes a lower lift is a little bit more comfortable. So you do what works for you here. Hands are by your hips, elbows are bent right now. Now double check that your kneecaps are pointed up and your toes are pointed up. And then work of the legs is the same. From the inner thighs, extend out through the inner knee, through the inner heel. From the outer knee, draw to the outer hips. Descend the flesh to the inner thighs. Again, that top of the thigh does draw back towards the abdomen, so there's a complete lengthening from the knee to the abdomen on both sides. And then the very top, that moves away from each other. There's a widening there. And then you can, again, push into the blanket. Watch those ribs coming forward, but push your hands into the blanket to lift through the side ribs. If they become straight, if they don't, equally great. You create more space, that's what we want. And can you find an evenness? So as I'm pushing down, I can notice that without mirroring, so this side, which is in reality my right side, is longer than my left side. So what do I need to do to lengthen my left side as well, or not, or either work the left side more or work the right side less, or what seems to be actually a combination, so that I find a sense of evenness there. And as I do this, I made that adjustment, my eye cleared up again. So my left eye just started getting a little bit clearer. Do this enough, maybe I won't need those glasses anymore. Now again, we're going to go to a twist. So take your left hand inside of you. I could have said, have something for your hand. If you have shorter arms, you may want to get your block or a book. But you may still be, if you can reach the floor, then the floor is fine. Opposite hand goes behind you. Now reestablish the legs. We tend to completely forget the legs here. The thigh bones pressing down, that lengthening in both directions of the inner thighs. the descending of the inner thighs and the hips compacting. Get that first. Then inhale, lift up through the arms, rotate your upper arms out. That makes space for the side ribs. Inhale, lifting, exhale, and then you bend the elbows and turn. You're not really grasping onto anything, so it's a little different in this pose. You have to do the work with the body. There's a little bit, you can kind of drag with the fingertips a little bit, and that helps to turn. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Again, seeking not to control with the head, but seeking to get the body involved. Inhale, exhale, come to center, hands by your hips. Even out the legs. They may feel different now. Inhale, lifting, keeping the lift. Watch those ribs. Right hand in front of you, left hand behind you. Inhale, exhale, bending the elbows to turn. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Still finding that evenness on the two sides of the body as best you can. Head looking straight. I noticed, especially going to this side, my head seems to turn a little bit more. So I want to resist that and look straight ahead for today. Another day, we can try and turn the head maximum. But can you play with this one for today? Well, then people like leave the class and go, oh, you're not supposed to turn your head. Or they leave another class. Oh, you have to turn your head as much as you can, as if there's a right or wrong. It's not always right and wrong. Sometimes it's just different. Maintain the lift. Inhale. Exhale, come to center, hands by your hips. Are you leaning back? Are you leaning forward? And take your hands underneath your knees. Pull straight up. And then for me, when I do that, I always find my feet so close together that I go, oh, just what a great opportunity to Baddha Konasana one more time. Take my strap. Just be here for a moment. Don't rush to straighten them right away and move on. Just be here. It feels quite different actually doing Baddha Konasana after the other pose spread. So feet together, this is Baddha Konasana. Bound angle, right? Because these are bound together, the calf and the thigh. And the other pose is called Upavista Konasana. Upright, Upavista. And then coming out, take your hands on the outside of your knees, push your legs together, hold behind one knee, draw the flesh towards the buttocks, drag the heel, straighten the leg, the other leg, draw the flesh towards the buttocks, drag the heel, straighten your leg, hands by your hips. And we're going to continue with some sitting work, but just come up to standing, come up to Tadasana for a moment to check in with what all that did for you. So feet together or feet hip distance apart. Balance evenly on the feet. And see if you can get those same actions that you did before, where the thighs are pressing back. So before they were pressing down, so now back. The lengthening from the inner knee to the lower abdomen, the flesh of the inner thighs, in this case, moving back. And drawing the outer knees to the outer hips, compact the hips together. Keeping the front ribs back, lengthening through the side ribs. Dropping the shoulders, extending through the arms. So taking this opportunity to observe the experience. What was this experience? We did a lot of work there with the legs. I'm going to continue some of that. But how does it affect you when you are upright? Because most of the day we're upright. I guess it depends on what you're doing. Some of us might be sitting all day long, but not necessarily in the way we've been. All right, release. So I want you to watch for a moment. We're going to potentially use a chair, okay? We're going to do some forward bends. And So let me explain this first. So here's the thing about forward bends. Forward bends can be very, very restoring. They can be very, very calming, except normally we fight with forward bends. The calming experience in forward bends comes from the head being supported, which if you look in the book, you see when they do a forward bend, they're on the floor, right? They'll be on the floor. Right, I know you can't fully see my leg here, right? And you'll do a forward bend, and you know, in light on yoga, his head is on his shin. Very relaxing on those days you can get there. It looks like that's not in the cards for me today. So I'm going to show you some different lifts that you can use. First of all, it can be beneficial to have a couple blankets or towels underneath you. So I might take this 3 and use 2 for me. Don't step on your glasses. And I'll show you how I get into it, though I'll describe it first. From Dandasana, you'll take one leg out to the side, and then you'll take the foot on the inside of your thigh. Now then, I'm going to show multiple setups. You can use a chair and lift and rest your forehead on the chair. For some, that's too low, and you take an extra blanket. See if I can get to the side. That might be a little better. You can take a blanket. You can make the chair as high as you want. But some of us are a little bit more flexible. And I'm not saying you can't do that. No, that's a little, I don't like that one. But watch. I'm going to really show you how you can do this at home. This is a couch cushion. I'm going to take my couch cushion. Oh, that's nice. Or maybe it's a couch cushion in your throw blanket. Okay, so I want you to take some time. Editha's going to kill me. I just tore apart the couch. No, she won't kill me. She loves me. I want you to take some time. Here's another one. Sometimes all we need is a block here on the inside of the leg. Okay? So you can come in and out of this. We'll be here for a few minutes. If you know what you want, I want you to have something nearby. If you're not sure, just take the high one with a chair. Okay? Did that make sense to everybody? If something's not clear, unmute yourself so I know that you have no idea what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm going to assume everybody knows what I'm talking about. So have whatever props you're using to your right side. From Dandasana, you let your left leg fall out, take hold of the inside of your left knee and take it out to the side. And you put your heel and the ball of the toe on the opposite thigh. There's the other version where you take it way back, but for today, you can have it on the opposite leg. And then from here, you can take your chair or the other setups that we had before. That's fine. Turn a little bit so maybe you see me a little bit better if you're still looking at me. Now that straight leg does turn in, kneecap up. So before you fully get into it, lengthen the inner thighs of both legs, from the inner thigh to the inner knee, from the top of the thigh back towards the abdomen. And draw both legs, those outer knees to outer hips, especially that bent leg. Sometimes it's hard to grasp there. So outer knees to outer hips, the descending of the thighs. That's all there. Then maintaining the legs, you lift and you turn your torso towards the front leg. You can even take the left hand if you want on the outside of your right leg and just turn a little bit while you're upright. You're still upright now. And turn. And then inhale, lifting. Exhale, come forward. Your chair, you fold your arms, you rest your head. If you're going a little bit lower, you take whatever lift you're using. You can rest your head on a block on the inside of your leg. Perhaps hold your toes for those that have a little bit more flexibility. Or maybe it's just the couch cushion, or maybe a blanket on your shin. That's fine too. What is it today? if I should have said this before, my apology. Do not take the lift which forces you to your max, because you want to going to want to get out of it right away. And I'm asking you to stay in here. So if you're like, oh, I can reach my head to the block or a blanket on my shin, don't do that. Give yourself something extra so you can actually be here for a minute and experience the restorative aspects of the pose. When I really want to restore, it's just the chair for me. And these days, some of us just need to restore a little bit. There's just a lot going on inside of our heads, and we need to let go. There's a sense of unease with the unknowing of what's happening. And we need to calm our nervous system. And this does that. But only if your head is resting. If you're doing the version of the forward bends where your torso is just hanging in the middle, you're not going to experience that part of the benefit. There are other parts, your hamstring, and you know, you're still working some of the organs, but you're not getting that calming effect. Once you're settled in here, in this pose, Janu Shirshasana, you want to take your left ribs down slightly, so that your torso is closer to, well, parallel to wherever it's facing. Many of you will be on a diagonal with a chair, so I can't really say parallel to the floor, but if you're down further, parallel to the floor. And really let your head rest into whatever prop you're using. The chair, couch cushion, bolster, blankets, block. Let your head rest. In whatever version, the elbows are out to the sides. Right? Because when the elbows are out to the sides, if they're on the chair, then they're just resting there. But the elbows away from each other, and that helps broaden both the front and the back bodies. Which helps create more space for the breath to flow. And I want you to breathe, in our last moments here, I want you to breathe from the base of the spine to the top of the back. Let the top of the back really widen. And then exhale below the navel. Not a forced breath. You're just gently directing the breath from the base of the spine to the top of the back, letting the top of the back widen. The shoulders move away from each other. Maintain that width. Exhale below the navel. Face should be soft and still. To come out, slowly lift the chest. If you're on the chair, you take your hands on the chair. If you reach your foot, you can certainly take your hands on your feet. Lift the chest, lift the side ribs, and come up to center. And it's going to be by your hips to lift your side ribs. And then, you know, with a lot of props, sometimes coming out is a little bit of a chore here. So you have to move the chair out of the way. Take hold of your knee, support your knee, lift it up. I always like to support the knee because it helps the groins that we're looking to release not grip so much. Take your hands on the back of the knee, draw the flesh towards the buttock, straighten the leg. And then you take the legs together, and here we are back in Dandasana. And whatever you were using, I have the chair, but you can use whatever you want. So you'll take whatever you're using, the couch cushions, the chair, the blankets, to the other side. Take your right leg from Dandasana, let your right leg fall out to the side, take hold of the inside of the knee and draw it not just back towards you, but out to the side, right? So you get that nice opening in the inner groins, right? And then keeping that, so you want to keep that as far out to the side. It will come back, and as you take your foot, you're not just pushing the knee forward, you want the knee to stay out to the side, and then your foot comes to the opposite leg. And then I'm going to turn a little bit again, just so you can see me a little bit better. That's not perfect. And then for me, I'm using the chair, but maybe you're using the couch cushion or something lower, because that's what's optimal for you today. But again, I don't want you to force it somewhere where you're going to want to come out more quickly, just because you're in pain. So I want you to lift up and then begin to turn. You can even take your opposite hand, your right hand on the outside of your left leg, and turn to try and get your navel. It's not really in line with my straight leg. Some days maybe it gets closer. So I'm not saying to force it, but just there is a twist in this pose. But notice that knee then begins to come. So I still need to lengthen the groins. Now that knee doesn't follow. The upper thighs drawing back to the abdomen, the descending of the inner thighs, and the drawing of the outer knees to the outer hips. So establish the legs first. That will help control a lot of this pose. Especially remember that bent leg hip. It's both outer knees to outer hips and hips compact. But that bent leg, you really want to draw that into the body. And then lifting up through the side ribs, come forward, either on the chair, rest your forearm, you can fold your forearms, rest your head, or whatever you've chosen. Maybe it's the blankets on your shin or your couch cushion. Maybe you needed some higher lifts on that chair. That's fine too. We're not concerned with how far down you go. We're concerned with you getting some support for your head. So take a moment to adjust so that your head can really be fully supported, that your skull is supported. That front thigh does turn in, kneecap is up. You can always go after the legs again. Sometimes we lose it, that lengthening of the inner thighs, the descending of the inner thigh. And then when you've settled in, it may take you a few moments, that's fine. When you settle in, you want to take your right ribs down slightly. Now, often here, the neck still thinks it has a responsibility to hold the head up. I don't want your neck to hold the head up. I want your head to rest on whatever support you have. If it's not able to, you need a higher support. So rest your skull. Rest all the facial features. Allow the elbows to move away from each other, so there's a spreading of both the front and the back body, so the chest and the upper back. And breathe from the base of the spine to the top of the back. And exhale below the navel. Breathe from the base of the spine to the top of the back. Let the top of the back really widen. The shoulders move away from each other. And exhale below the navel. Face is soft. When you notice that your neck has retaken control of holding your head, let go on the neck so that the head rests. And Prashant had an interesting instruction for this pose, as well as he said forward bends in general. Prashant is B.K.S. Iyengar's son, teaching at the Institute in India. And one of the things, he sends out a couple emails a week, and one of the things he said was, on your exhalation, use the exhalation to evacuate the thoughts of the mind. So you can see if that works. We all have thoughts going through our head. On your exhalation, allow that exhalation to evacuate your thoughts. And for me, the thoughts come back pretty quickly, but there's a moment there where it's, I don't even know what the word is. It is. On an exhalation, evacuate your thoughts. And then slowly inhale and come up. Again, if your head is further down, you can hold your, lift the chest. Otherwise, on the chair, hands on the chair, lift the chest, and then everyone, hands by your hips, lift the side ribs. And got to move some of these props out of the way. Support the knee. Take the leg up. Pull behind the knee. Drag the flesh towards the buttocks as you drag the heel, and then the legs come together. A little sideways here. If that's where you wind up, that's fine. I'll turn just so you can see me here better. And release. All right. Let's lie back. I'm going to put the chair to the side. Take a blanket under your head if that's comfortable. You don't need it, but it can be nice. And if not, have it nearby. I'm also going to have a block nearby. If you don't have it, you don't have to use a block here. But if you have a block or a book nearby, just take that to your side. We're doing Supta Padangusthasana 1 and 2, and in 2, when we take the leg out to the side, sometimes it can be nice to have a block here. It draws the hip. So just have it nearby. If you don't have it, it'll be fine. Just work a little harder, perhaps. So start with your legs bent. You do need a strap. So I have a strap, and I have a block. And for me today, I have my head slightly supported. Bend your right leg into your chest. Put the strap around your foot where the heel meets the arch. Straighten your leg. No death grips on the strap. Gentle. And remember, today we're working with ease, right? Can you have ease in your pose? So please don't fight with your body. The actions are still there. Whether you fight your body or not, the same actions are there. So can you do the actions without fighting? So the thigh bone moves back, lengthen from the inner thigh through the inner knee, through the inner ankle, through the ball of the toe. Draw from the outer knee to the outer hip. Draw the femur bone into that hip socket. The outer hip does move away from the shoulder so that there's length in the side ribs, the two sides of your torso equal. And there's also the flesh of the inner thighs moving from the front of the leg towards the back of the leg. Soften your shoulders. Open the back of the hamstring, kindly, peacefully, gently. So that doesn't mean just one big and then there we are, but it's a slow opening over time into an optimal space for you, an optimal place for you. Find a softening in the face. If your face is grimacing, you are working much too hard. Now drag your left heel on the floor to straighten your left leg. Turn the left thigh in, and then the actions of the left leg mirror the right leg. So that means the extension of the groin from the inner thigh through the inner knee, through the inner heel, and then from the upper inner thigh back towards the abdomen. The outer knees, both legs, outer knees to outer hips. The flesh of the inner thigh is descending. And then the top of the groin is that widening action, moving away from each other. Supta Padangusthasana 1. Can you find an ease here? And if not, do it. What do you need to adjust to get some ease in this pose? Ease is different than easy. I'm not saying there's nothing happening here, but how can you bring a sense of ease to this pose? What instruction am I not giving you that create more ease for you? Now moving to Supta Padangusthasana 2. Take this block or book and take it right up to the hip, touching it. And then reach up with your right hand. So I had to hold my left just to place the block, that's fine. Then take hold with your right hand. Left hand can either go on your thigh, that can be nice, and that helps push the thigh down. Use then the left hand to strongly push the thigh down. Or you can take your hand out to the side, whatever is going to work for you today. And then pull your leg slightly towards you if you're able, and then out to the side. But it's towards your face and out to the side. You can rest your upper arm onto the floor if you'd like. If you prefer it straight, you can just have the straight arm, but you can rest it if you want. And use that block to allow it to draw the femur bone as well as the flesh. The femur moves into the hip socket. The flesh and the muscle moves from the knee towards the hip. The abdomen moves from the right side to the left side. So the abdomen is moving opposite of your leg as that left side presses down. Lengthen the groins. The flesh of the inner thighs moving from the front of the leg to the back of the leg, and both legs, outer knees to outer hips. And then with a straight leg, inhale, take your leg back up to center, hold both sides of the strap, Supta Padangusthasana 1. That left leg, the lower leg, also still turning in. That tends to turn out here. Lengthen the groins, descend the groins, outer knees to outer hips. Soften your shoulders. And then bend both legs. That block goes to the other side. I might run out of room here with my chair, so I would turn around. If you have something in your way, just turn around. See how it goes here. Bend your left leg into your chest. Right leg is bent. Left leg into your chest, straighten the left leg. The strap goes where the heel meets the arch. So press the thigh back. I've taken the block already. I've taken that block right up into that hip. So it's ready for when I go in Supta Padangusthasana 2. The thigh bone moves back. Lengthen the inner thigh. The flesh of the inner thigh moving from the front of the leg to the back of the leg, drawing the outer knee to the outer hip. And as you draw the outer knee to the outer hip, remember that outer hip bone moves away from your shoulder. Two sides of your torso equal in length. Open the back of the hamstring optimally. Don't force anything, no grimacing. Grimacing is a signal you're working too hard. And then drag that right leg on the floor, straighten your right leg, but keep that right thigh turned in. And then those actions of the right leg mirror the left leg. So the lengthening of the inner groin, out through the knee, through the heel, but then back towards the abdomen, descending the flesh of the inner thigh, both outer knees to outer hips. Compact those hips together. And as you compact the hips together, there's also the spreading, the widening of the top of the groins. And if you don't have the block there, place that block and reach up with your left hand. So the right hand either on your thigh, which can be beneficial to pressing the thigh down, If you prefer, the arm can come out to the side. Take your foot slightly towards your face, and then the whole leg comes towards your face and out to the side. And again, you can rest your arm if you want. So my chair is in the way, so I'm not really going to stay there. Lengthen the groins, outer knees to outer hips. Keep that work of the legs. It doesn't change. And then with a straight leg, come back up to center. Hold both sides of the strap. Both thighs turning in. Lengthening the inner groins, descending the inner groins. And then bend both legs. Put your strap to the side. Put your block to the side. Bend your legs into your chest. If you didn't take a blanket, now's a good time to take one for your Shavasana. Just draw your thighs into your chest for a moment. Give yourself a little hug here. Use this opportunity to say something kind to yourself. Take your hands then to the face of your your knees. Keep your hands on your knees. Inhale, let your legs move away from you. So the thighs move away from the torso, but hands stay on the knees. Exhale, draw the legs towards you. Just easing the lower back, also massaging the abdomen. Inhale, the legs move away. Exhale, legs draw towards you. So a few breaths like this at the pace of your breath. Of course, the inner thighs, the inner groins still lengthening and releasing. Then on your next inhalation, take your feet all the way to the floor. Take your hands to the top of the buttocks. You're not doing a pelvic tilt here, but you're just lengthening the lower back, taking the top of the buttocks flesh towards your heels. Then straighten your leg one at a time. Let your legs fall away from each other and take your arms at about 30-degree angles to your body, but in a way that is comfortable and optimal for you today. Get any wiggles out that you need to get out, evening out the two sides as best you can, and then a complete letting go. A complete letting go. So when you were in Janu Shirshasana, the forward bend with the head supported, I said, let your skull rest completely. Now with the whole body supported, can you let the whole body rest completely? Can you let the whole body be completely supported by the Mother Earth below you? Soften the throat, the lips, the tongue. Rest your eyes onto your front brain. Rest your front brain onto your back brain. And let the brain itself become smaller and denser, withdrawing from the bones of your skull. Notice all the space, the spaciousness between your brain and the bones of your skull. Draw your ears inward and listen to the breath from the inside of your body. You don't need to breathe. The breath will breathe you. Lengthen the inhalation. Lengthen the exhalation. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your nose. Bend your legs, place your feet on the floor with your knees together, feet apart. Take your hands onto your abdomen or onto your chest. When you feel ready, extend your right arm past your right ear, roll to the right. When you feel ready, place your left hand on the floor in front of your heart. Turn your torso towards the floor first. Use your left hand, right elbow, push to come up. Come up to sitting. If you're sitting cross-legged, cross your legs the opposite way you did from the beginning of class. Lengthen the inner thighs, descend the inner thighs, outer knees to outer hips. Bring your palms together at your chest. Dry your eyes back and down as you gently turn the corners of your lips up, taking a moment to observe your practice. What's different? What's changed? Remember to take your yoga practice with you into the rest of your day, into all of your interactions with other people, with kindness and compassion for others. Most importantly, kindness and compassion for yourself. Let's close our practice together by chanting one collective Om. Deep inhalation. Om. Gently let your eyelids open. Big smile. Namaste. Bow to the divine within you. Thank you, everyone. I want to say thank you to everyone.
Thank you.
They can't see you.
Thank you, everyone. Oh, thank
You, Mateo.
you.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scotty.
Thank
Any-
you.
Grandma's right there. Anybody have any questions or need anything?
No,
It
I
was
feel
really
balanced.
interesting.
I'm kind of off balance, and I feel balanced now. So that's a good feeling.
Say that again.
I feel balanced now. It's kind of off. I've been struggling with an imbalance somewhere, and
Yeah,
I'm feeling a little more balanced now.
good, wonderful, Tina. Yeah, sitting work, we focus on standing poses, but sitting work can be very powerful.
Yeah, you know when you told us to stand up and just feel
Mhm.
mid-class, and you told us to stand up and see what you feel different, and I felt like really grounded. It was like a nice feeling.
Beautiful, wonderful. Thank you, Tina.
Very nice. Thank you.
Anybody else?
For me, the stepping back, for example, I was ready to do Junior Shishasana with a bolster. And when you said, can you stay there and be really relaxed? And I went, let's see what happens with a chair. And with the chair, there was so much more ease. I could really relax and I could adjust better. So
Yes.
you
Our
always
ego
think-
wants to get us down.
Yeah.
And, and I practice that way sometimes. Let's see where I am today. I'm not saying we can never do that. But the other way, I definitely have more ease and I can be there longer and then get all those really dynamic effects when I pull back a little bit. And that's where
Yeah.
the joy really comes up.
And we get out of that judgment
Yes.
of the pose, which I really appreciate you bring me that, Jonathan.
Good.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, you're welcome. All right. And Anu, I didn't see you before. Welcome, Anu.
I
All
logged
right.
in a minute late. So
What's that?
I said I came in a minute late. Sorry.
Okay. Well, we're glad you're here. Anybody else? Any questions? Anything you just want to share with everybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Kisses.
Thank you, Jonathan. Bye, Mateo.
Bye, everyone.
You forgot to unmute somebody.